This week in Hey the Parents, we're talking all about cooking a special meal inspired by your favorite movies or TV shows. It's a great way for families to spend time together, maybe sneak in a lesson on measurement, and just maybe in the end, have something delicious. Hopefully. And maybe we'll start to knock out a few of those New Year's resolutions with cooking, because in Hey the Parents, it's an honest discussion about raising kids. I'm Michael Hyatt.
I'm Sara G.
And I'm Mike Levine.
Kids don't come with a handbook, so we need your help.
Where do babies come from?
Where do you think they come from?
Is this a kissing book?
Mama! Mama!
What?
Hi.
I learned it by watching you.
There are no rules in this house. Not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
We sent them to the best boarding schools. We hired the best nannies. We did everything right.
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf!
No drinking, no drugs, no kissing, no tattoos, no piercings, no ritual animal slaughters of any kind.
Together, we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
This is Hey Other Parents, an honest, messy, imperfect show for raising kids.
Hey, welcome back. It's us again.
Hello. What's up?
Hello. Do it, Mike. Sing it. Sing it.
It's the three best friends that anyone can have.
So we're back.
morning.
Oh man, morning, bright and early. This is Sunday before the kids go back, so we're here, carving out a little space in the morning where just maybe we'll get through this without an interruption, but that's okay. That's what this show's all about, interruption. So we're so glad that you guys came back to hang out with us. We figure out this parenting thing, whether you're in the car, folding laundry, hiding in your kitchen, recording a podcast, getting organized or on the go. We know that you have a lot of choices for podcasts out there, so thank you for listening to ours. We'd like to send a big welcome to our new moms and dads listening. A big hearty hello to the returning listeners who are back to put up with us for yet another episode. And if this is your first time joining us in this podcast, Hey the Parents, it is a chance for a few of us parents who decided that we needed to get through this, as we call it, a survival course. We pick a different theme or topic each week where we discuss it from the standpoint of when we were younger, where we grew up with our own parents, and then we shift over to now as adults, where we certainly did not get a handbook with our kids. We talk about what we go through, we share some of our experiences, and we learn from each other. And every week we feel a little bit better because we have each other and we have all of you. So if you have any comments, questions for the show, we'll tell you a little later in the show on how you can get in touch with us here. And without further ado, we're going to jump right back in to this podcast with the main part, and that entails the topic of the week. So Sara D, what are we talking about today?
Well, today, guys, fellas, I want to share something that I did that was kind of fun and like super excited to do with my son. We created a cinematic dining experience for the family for the holidays.
It's a great combination, truthfully. Yeah.
Good combo right there. Julian, there we are. Julian and I were like Googling one day, like on my phone, and maybe I saw like an Instagram ad or something. But it was a company called Fork and Film. And what they do is they pair a dining experience while watching like your favorite movie, and they sell tickets for this. So Julian and I, of course, being the little foodies that we are in the house, we're like, oh my God, we have to do this. And we look it up, and the tickets were ridiculously expensive for a family of four. I think it was gonna be like a $700 meal, something like that.
Oh my God.
This was involving like they would come to your house and do it, or like you would go to a
No,
place?
so you go to like a place, like I guess like just different locations that they have like in the city.
No kidding.
Did they give you gold with the meal?
I know,
That's crazy.
right? But and then apparently there's this. So the tickets that we were looking at, because the event was going to happen pretty soon from the time we were looking, all was left was like the VIP section. So of course that's why it was expensive. So I said, Julian, this looks really cool, but no. So we kind of forgot about it.
Right. But no.
Right. We're like, but no. So we're like, oh darn, all right. And then that was it. Then there we are. It's the fall. We're watching Sophia's cheer event, and we're slightly bored because the game was terrible. And we started Googling about random things to do, and again, Fork and Film popped up, and we're like, let's check. So again, the tickets weren't that expensive like the first time
even
around.
in the non-VIP section, it was still pretty.
Even in the VIP for four people, for possibly food that could be slightly meh. Especially for movies that we already seen, like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Ratatouille, and like, were we that passionate to go see those particular movies and spend that much money? So no. Yeah. But then we're like, hey, the winter break is coming up. It's a really long break. I was thinking we'd do like a random day of the week, and he was like, let's do it for Christmas, and let's do the Grinch. because he's like, oh, remember they talk about like who hash and who beast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love that he wants to commit to like a major holiday though. This isn't just like we're doing this on a Tuesday.
Exactly. I was like trying to do like a random Thursday, just like the four of us. But no, Julian, of course, was like Christmas Eve with everyone over. And I was like, oh, Lord. I was like, okay, fine. So there we are. We're ignoring now the game completely. and we are Googling the story, how the Grinch Stole Christmas. We're trying to look at different food options. We're coming up with different ideas. Like, we're not even Googling the ideas. We're just have like a Apple's notes open and we're just writing stuff down. Julian wants to have like a menu, like an official menu with like Grinch like background on it.
I love the planning session. Sounds like the best part.
Like hour or so, ignoring the game.
It's so much fun. I love doing that. Yeah. I could picture him getting all excited.
Like when you come up with ideas, that's the best part. It's like all exciting. Yeah. And he is excited. Oh, he was super excited. He's like, oh. And then like we're thinking about things that represent the movie because like, you're not going to find a who beast anytime soon. So like what are some foods that can represent like at certain moments?
Right.
We talked about
get the variety that way.
Like how the Grinch, he eats the now we're thinking of the Jim Carrey version because that's the best one. And he was thinking, he's like, oh, baby, we can make like glass, like a candy, like, when you blow it out and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa. I was like, Sarah, slow down. Like, this is.
Wow. He's like really cranking it up.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, let's find like a in-between place. But anyhow, so flash forward to Christmas, and Julian already sent his invitations out and stuff like that. This is like a Julian event. And unfortunately, dinner seemed a little complicated because people had work and things of that nature. So like, let's do breakfast, which is perfect because then every year we wear different pajamas for the family. So this year we picked a Grinch themed jammy. We got Grinch socks. So everyone's guaranteed.
Ooh, we did Bluey.
That is such a good idea.
That's so cute.
Dog. Australia themed.
I know.
My little niece was like, oh, she's like, Bluey taught me something. And I was like, oh my God, you're so cool.
Sarah, I just want to throw in, as I'm listening to you, this reminds me of, when I started dating Taylor, I met her family for the first time. Like they're like big movie people, right? They recite movie lines. Like in order for me to be part of the family, I needed to remember movie lines. At the time, I only knew Star Wars movie lines, right? So
trying to keep circling back to a different movie.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm trying to like keep up with the family. And as the years got on, they always like to eat like meals during the movie. So they're like big movie and meal people, And I never understood it. So like me and Taylor would go and pick up food or whatever. And I'd be like, oh, like pass me a fry or something. And she'd be like, no, we have to wait till we get home for the movie. And I'm like, what? Like, and to me, it never really like crossed my mind. Like, oh, okay, I have to wait. That's weird.
Right. Like I'm eating while I'm setting up the movie.
Yeah. Granted, we might be all the people that like eat the entire bowl of popcorn before the movie starts. So this is like,
yes, I'm definitely one of those people. Like I'll eat all the popcorn before the movie starts. Like it never really crossed my mind. Like I have to eat while the movie's playing. So like this whole idea of eating certain foods while watching a movie definitely resonates with me because now we do it with our family. Like it's become like our family thing. Like we have when
I love it.
Watch movies and stuff like that. So it's a really cool idea. It's neat.
Oh, thanks.
All I'm hearing is that you have to show restraint, and I'm not enjoying that.
I know. Well, see, that was the biggest thing. So that's so funny because Julian was very like, okay, we'll start eating once the movie starts. He's like,
oh, he was into it. He's like,
we're gonna bring out the first course. I was like, the first course. I was like, oh my goodness. So it wasn't as extravagant as Julian and I had in our minds because at some point it was becoming like we're gonna probably like rent some person, come in a costume and like be the Grinch. Like
right.
We were getting like out of control. But another thing we talked about because Julian was like, like how do we do certain things? I'm like, like also too like let's not stress out because we can name certain things, parts of the movies, and it would just be fun, So we did a Grinch mocktail with
no way.
Like that. Remember back in the 90s, like that Calypso brand, like juice brand. It's come back out. Like I think it's called Calypso or something like that. It looks like
really?
Mystic, but it's not Mystic. If you guys remember.
Oh wow.
So anyway,
I'm like thinking back. I'm thinking of Orbeez for some reason. I'll say okay.
Something like that. So it was like in that family, in that timeline.
Yeah.
So they come out with like a blue lemonade. Both of my kids are obsessed with it. So we got that.
God. I know exactly what you're talking about now. I had to see it. Yeah. These are like the really like 70s looking bottle or 80s that like have like a really big script across it, and it's like the top of it is like a Snapple bottle, but the whole thing's glass, and it's
Yes.
It's got yeah.
My kids like obsessed. Like it's come back out is like, and
That's really
there
funny.
it is. So I'm like I used to drink this back in the day. So how do we make green? Oh, so we did Minute Maid lemonade and the Calypso blue lemonade drink.
Ooh,
and I guess we could have
dirty.
just done lemonade and dyed it, but we wanted to
That's
make
smart,
it like,
right?
a
I like it.
mocktail, is like fancy. And then we used like from Five Below, we got like this little baby drink dispenser that we never cracked open. So I was like,
No
this is
way.
a perfect day for it. So everyone can serve themselves. Like, we're going to be fancy. And
Like
then we put
you
some-
poured it into it, and people could just like
just
a
like help
dispenser?
themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what
like a park.
You know what I want to know,
Oh,
Sarah? Did Julian create like a spreadsheet like Mike would? Like, all right, we have to have a juice, an entree, a dessert,
Oh man, I'm
We
getting all the
sure
feelings
did.
right now. I love this.
you're like fellow clipboard person. We created like the Apple Notes, and we called it fake fork and film. So we had course 1 was the mocktail. This is for dinner.
Ooh.
Course 2 was going to be Who Hash with green punch and cherry. So he wanted also a drink accompany each meal.
Wow, like a flight of Grinch.
Wow.
Yes. Well, Julian loves the juice. So anytime he could get all the, and I don't really put it in the house because he could chug a lug it.
Yeah.
So, anytime he's like,
Mom, we need
juice, I can
ecto
get-"
cooler because this is a
Yeah. Then another idea was to make Marry Me pasta because everyone likes that, and we're gonna just dye the pasta green. And then course 4 was
love
gonna
that.
be broccoli and cheese dip with pretzels. Why? Because it just felt like it was fun. And then for dessert, we're gonna do a Grinch float.
Oh,
so
wow.
Dinner turned to brunch, and brunch became we dyed. So we had the mocktail with the edible glitter in it. So that made it very fancy.
Yeah.
And my niece is a bartender, so she was able to like sugar the rims for us.
No way.
So she did like half red, half green, some all
that
green,
was probably
some all
really cool.
red. So it was like it made it like really special. And then so we poured the drinks for everyone. We did bring out the first drink for everyone while everyone's sitting at the couch, and we're like, all right, let's watch the movie. Like, cheers, Merry Christmas. So we made hoot hash with just hash browns with bacon, cheese, and sour cream on top. We did we dyed the scrambled eggs green as well.
Oh, nice.
Which some people were freaked out in the family, so we did half green and half just regular.
Just to keep things a little bit
Yes.
more calm for some of the people. That's probably smart,
I
right?
attempted and failed at the sunny side up eggs, like dyeing the yolk green. There was like a whole video I watched.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
I got this.
Would you need
And then
like a
it failed.
needle to like inject the yolk so it didn't break?
No, it was like
was thinking the same thing.
right. Like it was like I should have done that though. But it was like separate the yolk from the whites and then put it in a bowl with some water. And
my
I must
God.
have missed a step somewhere. Maybe like the membrane. I don't know.
That's wild.
But anyway, I put the dye in and it didn't do anything. So that was a fail. But that's okay. And then plus we were thrown off our game, Julian and I. We were not prepared for brunch. We were prepared for dinner. And then and then Gene made his famous French toast. I don't know. He just makes a really good French toast. And because it's daddy, we called it the Grinch toast.
That theme was already there before they even had an idea for the episode.
Exactly.
Oh man, that's rough.
Wait,
But I don't think Gene knew that we called it the Grinch toast. So I think
I need to know.
surprise Gene. Sorry.
Now, did you guys like make everything and then serve it, or were you like serving as you made it, like appetizer, entree type of thing?
We made everything as so like everyone was still like we're like clean up. So everyone like cleaned up. Julie and I were in the kitchen. We're like scrambling eggs and making hoo hash and
Oh, that's
creating
awesome.
our beverage, trying to find the glitter that I put in a safe spot that I couldn't find anymore. And then we made bacon too because roast beast.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, because like the only bugaboo I would say here is like you want to watch the movie too with everybody, right? So like you don't want to serve while everybody's like watching the movie and enjoying like the Grinch Kool-Aid,
Yes, exactly. So that was another thing. So I was like, I don't want to be like starving here the whole time. I'm gonna sit down and watch TV too.
Yeah.
Because I love the Grinch.
Yeah. It's all part of the experience, you know?
All part of the experience. So everyone was like, like in and out of the kitchen, seeing what we were up to and stuff like that.
Right.
As they graciously cleaned up all the wrapping paper that was, after Christmas, there's like just a crazy mess of stuff everywhere. So then breakfast was basically served. We gave out the first drink. We sat down for a little second and was like, all right, let's move on to the second course. So we're like, all right, everyone, just come to the kitchen. And then we kind of like introduced everything because we figured that might be better just for the situation that we were like in. And so we ate. We brought our food to the living room. We sat down. We watched TV. Some of us sat in the kitchen because it's like an open space concept thing. So we were all able to watch TV and enjoy. And it was just it was the five of us, me, my niece, and Sonisha. Plus we had Jean's sister and our niece Rosie with us. So it was nice to have and Rosie's 5. So she was got a kick out of doing. Yeah, she was just happy to be there and be part of everything. So it was a good time.
Was that a good size to cook for that many people? Like, was that approachable? Do you think that was pushing it a little bit too much, or was that a good number of people for this kind of experience?
No, it was perfect because Ron, the 5-year-old eats some things, doesn't wants to eat the whole 20 pounds of bacon.
So variety is good.
So we made a boatload of bacon. The hash browns were just
really should be called a buttload of bacon. But
buttload of bacon.
Who doesn't love bacon?
I know, seriously. Eggs are easy, and honestly, so we just cracked a whole bunch, which was fun because they would get a really big bowl, and Julian got a kick having to mix all that together. And for the Who hash, we used the hash browns from the frozen ones.
Yeah.
And just did a little doobly-doo. So it was easy.
I love it.
And then we only did some of the hash browns half with Who hash, and then some regular, so if people want to do whatever they want with it. So it was more just this the plating of it, the presentation that Julian and I got a kick out of, I think.
Everyone must have been really impressed with Julian afterwards. What was he smiling?
So everyone was so happy, and they were like, "Hey, Julian, this is a really good idea." My niece was, she's like, "Oh my gosh!" She's like, "Julian really is the president of this house because he he's the party planner. He planned everything. She was having fun. It was nice to get everyone involved too. The baby helped. My daughter set up the table, and everyone cleaned. G made his toast. So it was nice.
That's cool.
Everyone got involved and brought their own talents.
And what was the grand
cooking.
total of everything? Would you say in comparison to your $700 trip to?
It's gotta be cheaper,
right?
Oh my God, maybe $50.
You see,
maybe.
It's amazing.
You see,
maybe
you don't need to spend
less than that,
and you probably had a better time too because everybody was involved. And you all had a part of it. You're home,
Yes. Yeah, no, we had a really, really good time. And it was cute because we all everyone got issued socks and stuff. It was fun. We had a really good time.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Do it 10 out of 10 experience. I would recommend it highly.
That's a good point, Mike, because in actuality, everyone just spent a lot of money on the holidays. I'm imagining, and it doesn't extend to just gifts. I mean, the hosting and everything else. So I love that this is a good way to kind of Sara having it during Christmas was she cranked that up to 11, but that's something that now that we're kind of getting back into post holiday season, and people are probably trying to figure out how to still do stuff that's fun and kind of rekindle the fire a little bit of the fun you're having with your family when you're back in school and stuff. It seems like this is going to be maybe kind of a really cool way to kind of save money and also do something that maybe you wouldn't normally do. That's awesome. But in the theme of what Sara said, and it's very early for all of us, so we're clearing our throats and stuff. So in the theme of what Sara said in Ratatouille, which is kind of funny because the thought process in Ratatouille is everyone can cook, and that is kind of the theme that I think is just so cool because that is our golden philosophy when it comes to food, right?
Yes.
So maybe we can, Mike. Were you inspired by this? I could see the gears are turning. I feel like there's some Star Wars happening. How do you feel with this whole stuff?
Yeah, I mean, last night I made some Han burgers. Han Solo Han burgers.
Wow.
Oh, adorable.
No, but I mean, we didn't watch Star Wars, but we did the other night. Actually, we watched Wicked, and this whole story that you're telling me is oh, I wish I would have made some type of goblin or witch punch or something to go with the dinner, because we had like such a good family night the other night, and watching Wicked. My wife was really excited about it because she had saw it in the movies with my girls, or with Ellie and some my mother-in-law and mother and stuff like that. Like they made a whole big thing of it, and we finally, you know, now that it's on streaming, I was able to watch it at home with everybody, and it just like, you know, that whole family experience of sitting around the TV, enjoying a nice movie, eating a nice meal, like it really brings some bonding quality time. And I wish we would have done this sooner so I could have made some type of goblin punch, like the Grinch punch or something, you know?
Ooh, yeah. Or like, and you could have put cotton candy on top of it or something like that for like
Totally
Glenda. That would have been so
There's
cool.
so many cute, like, you know, wizard, because I'm thinking the Wizard of Oz. There's so many cute, wicked ideas, I'm sure, that are out there that would have been great for this type of, this
That would be
event.
cool. Because like, you got the dichotomy of like the good witch and the, you know, she's like over the top and like dressed up to the nines, and like that would be total like cotton candy, bubblegum happiness.
Yes.
Like, it's almost like Barbieheimer.
Right.
And then you'd have like the green, like darker side with like the more serious, you know, potion-y kind of stuff.
Like jalapeno poppers.
Yes,
all right,
you
so
could
listen,
have
this is what we're
really
gonna do.
had fun with it.
Listen, we know that Wicked 2 is coming out next year, so maybe by the time that happens, we'll do a follow-up to
that'd be
this
fun.
episode, and we'll come up with some ideas. So, speaking of ideas, so I love some of the stuff that Sarah came up with was so cool, but maybe we could talk about some of these things and get the Mike Levine spin, because get the whole Jay Guadi package. So what we have here is just kind of think of this. So Sarah did this with her family, and then the idea was like they picked a theme together. So I was thinking like, I love that they kind of found something that they already kind of like love to watch, and they were thinking about things. And then, you know, Mike, you brought up this idea of like memorable quotes and scenes that, you know, Taylor kind of brings up. And I think like we're the kind of family that like we jokingly remember certain parts and stuff. So we make like quotes, or we reference movies. And I think those are great ideas, because those are probably the movies that like you should kind of like grab onto, because those are the ones that everyone seems to enjoy, right?
Yeah.
And I think it could be like a character, it could be a movie, it could be TV, you know, it's got to be inspired from somewhere. But the idea that like Sarah had mentioned, like, you know, the whole thing of like not an animal not really existing, but like being something that you could like, that meat over there, that could work for this thing, because we're going to have this meat anyway. So it kind of, you don't need to like go all the way, you know? And having everyone kind of involved. Sarah, what was that like when, was it just you and Juju kind of did, in this case, it was just you guys did the planning and everything. So like the other people in the family weren't. It was like, oh, you can make French toast, Gene, but you're not really involved.
Well, we were bugging Gene every once in a while. We're like, oh, babe, we just thought about this idea. And, you know, Gene's like, it's October. Why are we thinking about December? Right. And why aren't you watching the game? And I'm like,
I love this.
So, but, you know, we had our plan. And then Julian sent out invitations.
I love that.
It was like probably in like around November. And my niece, her birthday is right around, so Nisha's birthday is right around Thanksgiving usually. And so she was like, wait, whoa. She's like, first off, we just totally skipped over my birthday and Thanksgiving. She's like, why are we thinking about
movie,
Christmas
Brianna?
already? So, so it was great. It's like we just had like a really good time, just like planning. I think that again, planning is always the best part.
Yeah.
Thinking about the characters, thinking about things that can represent the movie.
Oh yeah.
And then we written down like our notes and stuff like that. We were kind of Googling at like green drinks. We were Googling green foods, like just to kind of come up with a recipe and to see how we kind of make things like be relatable. Like another like idea that we had was like a drink, and then like those little like small Spanish onions, and like have the little mocktail.
Yeah.
Yes, and have the toothpick with the little onions like sticking out of it because the Grinch eats onions. So we were like our brain was going in so many different directions. So it was just fun to get involved with the planning. Everyone was kind of excited and curious to see, especially because Julian's initiating all this, like what was going to come up with. So maybe this session we didn't have everyone come plan, but it was nice to just get people excited.
I'm sure after you did it the first time, people probably are more down to like come up with things and like throw ideas out, Because like the thing that Mike had mentioned about watching Wicked, and then he was like, I wish I thought of it sooner. Maybe that's kind of a good idea to do like a quick like watch the trailer, watch a little bit of the movie. Like maybe as the adult to get some scenes, get some colors, get some pictures, and then like you could like get like big moments where things might kind of inspire you. Because like after the fact, like, oh, we could have done this, we could have done that, and it doesn't need to be perfect. That's probably the most important part, you know. Because like the thing is like you're probably putting a lot of pressure on yourself, and it doesn't need to be that way. And then assigning roles by skill. I love the idea that like maybe Julian had this like sent out a message, sent out like an invitation. Like it's good to get kids involved wherever they probably can, right? I know like for the younger ones, they're probably good at just stirring and mixing things in, but don't let them don't let them unsupervised or throwing things in themselves. You know, they probably need a little assistance with, arranging things. Maybe they could do a little arranging, kind of washing things off. They could probably help with like putting stuff on a little after they're done, putting the sprinkles on top, whatever it is.
And that's what I love about Sarah's idea of just like doing it at home, and rather than spending all the money and going somewhere, is like just the whole, fact of getting your family involved and assigning roles and things like that. It makes it more special, more intimate.
Yeah, no, and like it was nice because like my niece, who's older, she's not a child, but she was like sugaring the rims and stuff like that. We're using the fancy glasses, and it was like, that's not her main job. That's just like a side gig that she does. But it was like we were all like, oh my gosh, look at you, you really are fancy. It was nice to like highlight everyone. Yeah, exactly. Like, ooh,
I love that. Can you speak a little bit to like decorating and stuff, like how she did that stuff and like how you did?
So we did decorate. So we tried to make everything just a little fancy. Like we got Christmas, the paper plates, but they had like little trees, and we're like, ooh, it's like when they left the Christmas tree. So everything had like some sort of purpose. I wanted to, but didn't want to at the same time get totally all Grinch merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't. I just wanted it to be like kind of like abstract, like a concept, like using our imaginations,
like colors instead of like pictures of
colors.
The characters.
Right. Other than our jammies, I felt like that was like suffice. So, like I said, like we just did like the paper plates. I got green forks, green napkins, just like stuff just to kind of make it like fun. And then like the sugaring of the glasses made it very fancy. And then like that was it. Oh, like a little green sprinkles on the French toasts, just to kind of just tie it all in.
Yeah, I think that's important.
So I felt like that was fun.
I think that's important to note too, is like, you get this idea and then you get invested. You're like, oh, I want to make this. I want to make that, and you want to keep in mind that you're doing this, you want to make it memorable, but you're also doing it to kind of stay on the cheaper side of things too. So like, don't get lost in the tunnel of
smart.
Like, oh, making, oh, wait, I spent way too much that I should have, you know what I mean?
Yes. And then there's also like a part of me in my head, and I was talking to Julian about this, was that I didn't want it to turn to like almost like a birthday party, like for like a little kid.
Oh yeah, right.
Like where everything's like thematic, like so on the nose. Like we want it to be like more elevated. That was our goal.
Yeah.
And then Julian had a lot of fun using Canva. Like he was like creating like dinner, like a dinner menu. He created an invitation.
That's cool.
So like that was fun. He was using different backgrounds, different fonts. He was like sick for a bit there. I remember if you guys don't remember that one.
Great timing.
So like during the time when he was avoiding any schoolwork, he would be sending Jean and I different invitation ideas and things of that nature. So he was definitely having a good time.
But then like the idea of you making it so like one thing that you had mentioned, I kind of just want to like put a little spotlight on, was that it was not. Everything wasn't about like the naming. Like maybe it was the plating, maybe it was the shape of something, maybe it was like you don't have to just be like we need food dye for everything. It could be like you don't have to do every aspect. And I think that's when you had mentioned like the birthday party thing, you just kind of made me think of that, because I think that's kind of an important point to kind of make, that like it doesn't have to be, everything doesn't have to look like the thing. It could be the name.
Exactly.
It could be like the drink could be in a certain kind of like dispenser, or like maybe even like we're thinking about Wicked now, maybe you could have a little potion making, or like a little potion bottle you guys drink out of to make it what do you, dry ice? We need it. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, no, seriously, it gets like, and I think that most fun was like coming up with the names. I think it was like cute to like, we were having like a bunch of different funny names for dinner. Maybe we'll share later in the show notes or stuff like that, but like for breakfast, like again, it was kind of we were throwing a curveball, but we made lemons into Grinch Punch.
Oh, I love that. That's
love it.
cool. Because you also could like play like music maybe in the background from the movie, or you could have it on in the background, or you could recreate a scene at the table if you really want to go nuts. Sounds like a murder mystery, but yet avoiding the birthday scene. And I like this idea about like not stressing about perfection, because that's like, you had fun, and maybe having the backup
simple.
plan. Sarah really did have a backup plan, because she separated the dishes out and had like the safe option in case people were like, I'm not eating that.
Right. I mean, you don't want to eat green eggs?
Yeah, exactly. Did you guys probably take a lot of pictures too to kind of remember the whole occasion?
Yes. Yep. No, we had a good time.
I love it. So maybe we can, maybe mention a couple ideas. I know Mike and you were probably brainstorming also before we started, but like just keep in mind, there's obviously people have different circumstances, and depending on people's needs, you could have like healthy options, obviously allergy friendly options. Like obviously like ratatouille, I'm thinking about like eating all the good creamy happy French food, but like maybe you could go the veggie ratatouille option. You could go like thematic, right, or like even if like culturally or thematic, you could go like Encanto and go like Colombian style rapes and stuff. You don't have to go to stick to like one thing. And obviously like there's all kinds of like people that have allergies and things, so like maybe having like shaped fruit kebabs or things like that, whatever the theme of the thing might be. I know like my kids were really into Harry Potter. So like, I mean,
that would be
Harry. That would be fun, but we got to talk secret. We got to talk really quiet here, because the thing is that it's really just kind of like cream soda. So really, the butterbeer situation.
The butterbeer.
There's a couple of things you add into it, but it's mostly cream soda.
That's another perfect movie for this event, is to Harry Potter, all the different things you could do with that one. Oh, that's good.
But I like how Sarah also had like mentioned, like when she called the place or looked it up online, how it was like, it's Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or Ratatouille, and like cool, but like maybe your family is not necessarily, those are not the movies that you're thinking of. Maybe like you could make whatever it is your own, and it doesn't have to be those things. And obviously things like Dr. Seuss, Disney, Pixar, superhero, those are the things that probably kids might like. But sometimes you got to make it fun for the grown-ups too.
Exactly.
So Sarah, were there other ideas that you were thinking about, or like that you would want to do in the future?
We actually did think of Stranger Things. That was one of the first ones with Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
Right away went to like 11 with the waffles.
Yes.
Right. And then, like we were thinking about like calling it like Hawkins Burgers, like hamburgers and stuff. Like we had like a whole bunch of like different things too. But then again, like I said, for whatever reason, Julian was moving more and more towards having like a major event.
Yeah. And it's probably because it's Christmas and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Stranger Things is one of the ones that we were thinking about. Like we were thinking about using like red food dye somewhere to make it look like blood, and then maybe that's where we drew the line.
Yeah, like visceral and like
Yeah, and then I think that's where Gene was like, maybe he tuned in that second. He was like, no, like game.
But I think that would be fun with the right kids, like the right age and stuff. Like that would be.
Yes.
But it's funny because you like, see, this is where like I think like many people probably were initially probably looking at our episode or thinking of ideas and how like Stranger Things would just not work because all they eat are waffles. But it's not just the waffles. You can make other things like you had mentioned, burgers and stuff. I think that's really cool because my brain was like, nah, how many waffles are people going to eat,
Oh. Right. No, and then like the blood thing, like Gene's a little squeamish, like when it comes to blood. So he was like, no. Like once we mentioned like things looking like blood, he's like, yep, no. I was
Imagine you had like, all right. Like a Renaissance fair, like a big turkey leg, and you called it something else.
Yes,
like, I can eat this.
That'd be awesome.
What would be a good movie for barbecue? Oh, I would love like a nice barbecue movie.
Barbecue, like Barber, like Stranger Things.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yes, Barb.
Oh.
Oh, it's dark. Right.
Don't forget about Barb.
Man. I think you could probably tie into anything, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's dark.
Oh, my God.
I know, but even like Princess Bride, like, because originally I was thinking, like, what do they eat in this movie? But like, you could have like, like the rats of unusual size. Like, you could probably just pick like a meat or like a roast or something for that. And then like you could probably like, I know like at one point, as if I know Princess Bride because I watched it too much. But there's a part where like they bring Wesley back from the dead and they give him like Miracle Max, gives him like a chocolate goober to eat, and that could be something that you could kind of play around with.
That's cute.
But and then everything could have names like inconceivable this and inconceivable that, right? Or the
that's so good.
you could have like iocane powder where you just put a little. That seems dark though. Actually, finishing a drink with like a little white powder in it probably seems a little questionable. But and obviously we joked around before this episode. Me celebrating Hanukkah and stuff, and the Christmas story, going out to the Chinese restaurant. We're thinking maybe I could do that episode if we could do all Chinese themed things. But there's so many things that like I think it all depends probably where your family is at the time, because like my kids are a little bit older now, but Noah obviously is 5, so that would maybe make things a little bit more PG. But we could go a little bit more like into the PG-13 kind of category of things sometimes. But Lord of the Rings, Goonies, if it was just grown-ups, what would you do in the shadows?
That would be a good one.
Mike, what about you? Mike, did you have any ideas besides the Star Wars and Wicked?
Well, Star Wars is my jam. So I love Star Wars, but I think another good movie could be like Luca. No, wait, is it Luca? Yeah, right?
The one where they're like they're little fish people, right?
Yeah, the little fish people, and they have like, and my family's a big Italian eating family.
That's a good choice.
I think that would go great with Luca.
Oh, the big bowl of pasta.
Yeah.
Would you have the kids eat pasta with their hands, or would you give them forks?
I would probably let them go all out. My family likes to just use their fingers. They don't believe in utensils for some reason. So,
so this would be just for the immediate family in this case.
Yeah. And definitely, my son loves sushi too. So, like, I think it goes with the whole
Oh man, you have to do a Godzilla one.
Oh, Godzilla! How did I forget Godzilla?
A Mothra souffle,
or even dinosaurs too. Oh no, maybe Flintstones.
Jurassic Pork.
Jurassic Pork. Yes,
that's so cute. I love that.
I was thinking Flintstones, like the old school, like Flintstones. And having some like dino burgers or something, or dino ribs or something,
See, like how Sarah and I are probably leaning more towards like, how do you make it bloody and show the dinosaurs getting out? She'd be like, nope, we're not eating that.
Exactly.
Well, then we also had Julian, who's like trying to go above our like pay grade of cooking, baking expertise. I'm like, blowing glass candy. Oh my God.
Right. We're gonna be
I guess we'll try.
We're gonna make some sheets of breakable. That's wild. I love it though. But I think like maybe like narrowing it down to like maybe it's good to like, I mean, obviously, when you're a kid, they're like brainstorming and there's no bad ideas, but like, get some ideas out and then maybe, highlight or circle the ones that look really good and then, focus on those. I think it's probably hard as like, adults when you sort of like, the context of what the mess is going to be involved and like what it's going to look like and how much work's going to be and to try not to say no to too many things, but maybe narrowing it down to like, I guess like breakfast or buffet style is a little different, but if it was like a meal, maybe you could have like maybe one main course, a couple sides, an appetizer, and maybe a dessert and drink would be like, that's probably enough, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's what we were thinking about. Definitely. It was like 2 sides, a main course, an appetizer, all the drinks apparently.
Oh, and you gotta do dessert. You gotta do dessert.
Yeah, because like when you think about how much like movies and like TV shows and like culturally it's such a big thing. I mean, I know it's like obviously very funny to even think about. We're not gonna go into too much detail, but like even like going to movies now, like the popcorn buckets are so over the top. Like everyone wants to get in on themes of things, and I think people have a lot of fun with that. So this is something that I love that Sarah did this.
And I remember too, like going to the movies, like it just used to be like popcorn and candy, but then like movie theaters started introducing like, like Nathan's, and you have like hot dogs, fries, burgers, and like all these other things. And I used to never even go over to those stands or get anything. I would just keep it traditional popcorn and candy or whatever. Yeah. But there was 1 or 2 times where I was like, you know what, let me just try like cheese fries. And like I got a bowl of cheese fries to eat with from Nathan's to eat with the movie. I'm like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. I like this.
Well, you know what? Like you bring up a good point. Like I mean, and I love that you said that because appetizers are so much fun. So like, we had mentioned just a second ago. I'd mentioned it was like it must be 1 meal, 2 sides. But like the thing is like people love appetizers. And my wife and I were talking about like going out with the kids yesterday. Went to the city. we got another one of the visits. We got one of the family outings off the list. Check that off for the New Year's.
Nailed
we
it.
went to a place in the city. We had soup dumplings at this place. It was amazing. And we went out for the day and did some fun stuff. But like, we were looking at the menu and we were like, should we just like get like appetizers only, or should we get like a main dish? But like sometimes it's just fun to just do the appetizer thing, which is kind of fun. Maybe that, like Mike mentioned, like the fries and cheese fries, nachos. I'm sure that could be tied in tater tots. Those things could be tied into just probably any movie if you really pushed it the right way. You know?
Well, you know what?
Yes,
I don't know if your
exactly.
kids are the same as my kids, but sometimes my kids don't even like to have meals. They just like to have snacks, right? So like appetizers are perfect. Like, and we did that for like New Year's Eve. Like we didn't even
tapas.
cook like tapas. We didn't even cook. We didn't even cook like a main meal. We just made a bunch of appetizers and we left them out. And like, you know, we just reheated them if they were, you know, throughout the day, if they were too cold or whatever. But like, it was cool because we didn't have to do much. We just made a whole bunch of appetizers, put them
That's
out,
fun.
and people just kept picking, you know? So
I like it.
it was
I'm thinking,
definitely really cool.
I'm like, The Greatest Showman might be fun because there's all little moments of, I don't even know. That's my brain went for a second.
Peanuts for the circus.
Exactly. Well, I'll tell you what, this is actually really cool. I think we have a lot of ideas that are brimming around our heads, and I think that with these fun moments, I'm sure everyone's looking forward to movies that are coming out, or family movies or TV shows they really like to watch now. So keep those creative juices. This week, the question is, what movie or TV show have you guys watched in the past that you think would make for a good meal? We'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to answer this question, have comments, questions for the show, you can get in touch with us with one of three ways. One, you can leave a message on our Hey the Parents voicemail line at 559-537-5437. You could email us to heytheparents@gmail.com or check the show notes for social media. So we are back for this part of the show. We call it Time to Unplug. This is where we talk about the things that are going on outside of our children, because sometimes we just have to have something for ourselves or with our spouses. It gives us a chance to decompress because you'll be a better we if you take care of me. Let's start it out with Sarah D.
Oh, hey, what's up, guys?
Because you rhyme, it happened.
So G and I, we had the long break with the kids, and we're looking for another show to binge watch because that's our favorite thing to do sometimes.
Yes.
Or most times. And he's like, "Oh, I think I found a show that you might like," because I was like off doing something. So it's called From. It came out in 2022, and it is this really awesome TV show. It is picture Lost and Manifest, if you're familiar with those TV shows, with like a little dash of Stranger Things in there.
That's so cool.
Because it is a little creepy. It is a little gory. But it's so cool, guys. Like, I don't know. Have you heard of it or no?
My sister actually was telling me about it, and it sounded really interesting. But I'm really curious what you think of it and like where you could actually watch it.
Oh my gosh. So it's on MGM. So we happen to have it with our package for the internet. So I'm sure you can find it elsewhere. Then it's the premises of the show is that there is this village that's living in a different, like, not time period, but like, it reminds me of like The Village, like M. Night Shyamalan's the movie.
Yeah.
So, so it's not a different time period, but they're just kind of like stuck in this bubble and they can't get out. And anyone who enters the village can't get out.
No way.
And everyone just happenstance, like shows up. There's monsters in the forest that they have to watch out for, but that comes out at dark. And everyone has a role in the village, or the town rather, I should say. And they're just trying to figure out what is going on, how can they get back home, and it is. We didn't think we were gonna like it. After like the first episode, we were hooked, and we've been blowing right through it. 3 seasons. Season 4 is coming out next year, I believe.
Oh, cool.
So like it's really good, I have to say.
And it's got Harold Perrineau, who's Michael from Lost. I can't believe he's in there. I'm looking at this. I'm like, that really messes with your head.
Oh, okay.
He's like
All right.
one of the characters that was in the show is looking for a son. So that's why I've like all these people that are like famous actors and actresses. I'm like, oh my God, that's gonna like bring my brain snap into like, the right mode for this.
Yeah, no, it's a great cast. It's well done. Like, it's amazing. It's really, really good.
That's cool because there's been so many shows that like came from the people from Lost, like that just didn't seem to like hit right. And I'm glad that this sounds really cool. And I'm gonna check it out. Is it kind of like horror-ish? Like should kids be a certain age?
Horror.
What am I saying? This is not for the kids. For us.
It says 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, 16 plus.
So kids should be well
definitely
asleep and not watching.
Yes, because there are some like you're like. Ugh.
Oh, I want to check it out. I do not have MGM Plus, but I'm gonna go look for it. I'm sure there's probably. I'll post in show notes if we find from another show, whatever else, another channel. That's really cool. Mike Levine, what is happening on the scene? Oh, wait, why is everything rhyming? I'm stopping. Okay, Mike Levine, what do you got?
So what I got for you this time is, have you guys ever put away all your holiday decorations and then you're like looking at your living room or wherever, you set up and it just seems empty. Has that feeling
This
ever
feels like
happened
an
to you?
I'm tapped in. I'm ready. What am I buying?
Well,
Are we in the gray section, the black and white section right now?
Yeah. So
I've seen on TV.
Is your living room empty?
Taylor
Yes,
and I
it is.
put away all our decorations and we're like, wow, just like it seems like old. It seems like we're missing something. So we kind of were like, let's refresh our living room, So my thing this time is kind of like refreshing your room, or a room. And we didn't spend a lot of money. We spent maybe $150 and we got like a little of, which is, not too much. It's still a little bit, but we got new curtains, we got like a new area rug, and we got some things to like cover the couches, just kind of refresh it, bring it back to life. New year.
Nice.
So,
Yes.
I definitely want to throw it out there. Like, if you're feeling like your living room is feeling empty, look into refreshing it for like little things, like we got these zip ties not zip ties. They're like these magnetic ties that go around like the curtains to kind of make them look like all spoofy, like spoofed up,
Ooh.
So
Yes.
definitely, revitalize your living room after the holidays,
Very nice. And if you call this number now at 559-537-5437, Mike Levine will throw in some extra tips.
Yeah.
Call the number the next 24 hours.
It made us feel good. Like, everything's gone away. All the decorations are gone. We're back into this living room that we've had for, this last year. We want to kind of make it lively again,
Did you look somewhere
and then,
online or find someplace? I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just curious if you found did Taylor or you or somebody look things up online somewhere to get some ideas?
We literally just sat down. We're like, let's just look on Amazon. Let's just find like really cheap stuff, get it like the next day, and and set it all up and make it look nice. And we were happy with the end result.
Yes, because if your like surroundings is like nice and relaxing, then you can unplug properly.
Correct.
So
I love
I like the way you put that in there.
no, but
Nice.
it's so true. Like if the house is messy, like you can't relax. So and as adults, like we're the only ones who really care what it looks like. The kids, they're just like a train wreck, so they don't care as long as it's slightly standing.
Yeah.
I love how you put that, Sarah. What about you, Mike? What do you got going on?
I'm torn because so this is really goofy. Right now we're watching Squid Games, and we're also watching Beast Games, which are shockingly similar in some ways, except there's no death as far as we know in Beast Games. But Beast Games is wild because I'll take that one to talk about. So Beast Games is pretty wild. If you have Amazon Prime, it's on there. It is a show with Mr. Beast, the super famous YouTuber that spends a lot of money, gives out a lot of money to do these crazy big events. And they gave him this show, and it's 1,000 people that are competing. It's the largest cast for a reality show, and it got a bunch of other. Jacob was telling me it got like a bunch of other like big like breaking records the first time it aired because of so many things it did. And it is the largest single prize in reality TV history. It's $5 million. But the way it works is every time you watch it, there's like a way for people to be caught by surprise and to be eliminated from the show. And it's an interesting combination of okay, so I think Squid Games did their own reality show of like having it where people did this, but I honestly think like I didn't see that, so I don't really have the context, but obviously it's Squid Games. But the thing with this is it feels refreshing, like the things that you would expect maybe from a reality show, like from like Survivor or like a show like that where they eliminate people. Some of the things are not quite as on the nose, and some of the things still catch you by surprise in ways to get eliminated. And it's an interesting thing to watch because it does tie in some of those like social experiment things of like if there were 3 people and you had to eliminate one person, how would you go about doing that? And like, turning on people and doing sneaky things. But then it also has things that it shows people two different lights where you could be like, you could take the money and run and grab like $1 million in some cases or $200,000 and then take that, and then you would inevitably screw over like 20 people in the process. So like it's kind of cool because it's an interesting thing to see like how far will people go to get to the prize and how willing are they to hold on to their morals because they're being televised too. So it's a lot of fun. We're actually enjoying it. But it is, like I said, it is really wacky to go back and forth between that and Squid Games because it's funny to watch TV shows with my wife. Sometimes she'll fall asleep and she'll wake up and be like, what's happening? What's going on? So it's really cool. But Sarah, what do you think of the Squid Games reality show? I'm curious.
Oh my God, it was so good.
It was good.
It was definitely short of killing each other, it was like spot on in
people
terms
were
of
actually like really competing to that level of like
they really were competing, really like having all these plans, like, oh, we're gonna pretend we do this and like backstabbing, all that, so it was really, really, really good.
Oh, well, maybe I'll have to check that out too.
I have to say, me and Taylor had a date night the other day, and we binged watched all 7 episodes of Squid Games. And
oh gosh,
you did.
It was not only amazing, but we were so upset when it was over because we wanted to see the next part, and because I think there's another part coming out, and now we have to wait.
Yep.
All right, that'd be good.
That's what G and I did. Yeah. We're like, that's it. We're like, no.
We'll have to discuss. Going to get through it. I think Rachel and I are on episode 3 now of the 7, so it's definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely good.
Like how our time and plug has turned from like from watching Mr. Beast to Squid Games to season 2 to well, I love it. So I think we're just about out of time on this episode. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with Mike and Sarah. We discussed the Grinch, the food, making TV and movies come to life in your dinner table, and keeping a couple extra side dishes to the side just in case people don't want the green eggs after all. We'd like to take a moment to thank our listeners and supporters for donating to the show. If you want to help support this show so we can keep making episodes like this one, we have a link to donate in the show notes. And if you don't have the means to do so, or if you just feel like wanting to do it, we always appreciate it if you tell your friends, your family about this podcast so we can reach more listeners. Maybe we can learn from them, they can learn from us in this growing community. If you have a chance, please leave us a review on our Apple Podcast or Spotify. We can't wait to explore this parenting thing again with you next week on Hey the Parents, because every week it's an honest discussion about raising kids. Don't forget to hug your kids and charge those Chromebooks. That's new for me, for Sarah, and for Mike, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey the Parents is produced by Mike Levine, Sarah Desvines, and me, Michael Haidt. I edit and mix our show. Our intro voice recording was done by the one and only Coltrane. If you like our show, we'll help you consider going to our show notes and help support the podcast. Check the show notes for social media information and contact information, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Booyah, Kasha.
Booyah.
All right, pause that.
All
that was
right.
fun. Great job.